The camera, my dog, my brother always tapping in, always bringing me all this, always ain't scared to say, Cole, I got somebody for you what time. But man, I definitely appreciate you, St. Louis to the H, man. Let everybody know who he is, where you from, and what you got coming.
Yeah, it's your boy All-Star Chuck, you know what I'm saying, representing Ear Catching Artist Services Music Group, you know what I'm saying. Man, I got my hands in so much stuff right now, you know what I'm saying? It's just
Lil Rock, you been in Houston how long now?
Man, I've been in Houston since 2012.
Okay.
Since 2012, so that makes what?
13
years.
There we go. So do you consider us home to you? Is it home?
Man, yeah, Houston is home, but the Chuck 636 St. Louis is always gonna be the hometown.
What is it, 314?
636-314.
Okay.
And also, I can't forget my real hometown, you know, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
That way, okay.
You know, I'm still a Bama boy, so yeah.
So Alabama came first?
Yep, I was born and semi-raised in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You know what I'm saying?
You from the South?
I'm originally from the South.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I moved
St. Louis.
I moved to St. Charles. I always got to get it right, man, because I know my people looking at this. So I moved to St. Charles 636. And then as I got older, I moved to St. Louis, which is really across the river from the Chuck.
The musical roots started Houston, St. Louis. What did you?
Man, the musical started back in Alabama before I left, before I moved there. Me and my homeboys, if they watch this, shouts out to Jamel Javaris, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We used to freestyle. Moving to St. Charles, my cousin Toronto, known as, we used to call him T-Bine back then, you know, he had his friends, which I ended up becoming real good friends with as well. And so they was rapping. We called ourselves RTP, Ruthless Teenage Posse. They called themselves, I was just a feature because I was literally a baby. I'm talking about 8, 9 years old, hanging around 14, 15, 16-year-olds.
Made you transition to behind the scenes type shit? Did the music not pan out how you wanted it to, or?
When I was young, you know, I was with the RTP, and then I got a little bit older. I ended up meeting up with with one of my homies by the name of Steve-O in St. Louis. He from U City. Same hood as Murph and Kiwan and Nelly and them from the Lunatics, U City. So we ended up forming a group called the Ledge Clan Table. Nights of the Round Table was pretty much a mixture group. You know, it was a mixed group. You know, so now when I decided opportunity to move here to Houston, I'm like, yo, I'm finna come to Houston. I'm finna do my thing in Houston. So I came here, met a few people, and got turned to a particular DJ coalition. You know what I mean? You know, y'all can use y'all imagination, but I'm not, you know, it's not really important like that. And in no way I'm not trying to send no diss out of shots. And I ended up meeting with these people. They hit me with the woo wham whams and jams, and I'm looking at dudes, said shit, I only came here with like a couple pairs of cut off dickies. So after that, I remember leaving that meeting with my tail tucked. So then I just thought about what can I do to kind of stay in this industry without being in the rap, because that hurt my feelings. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, it did.
It discouraged you, like, to?
No, it did. It discouraged me to stop rapping, because I'm like, I'm in a new city, but you know, I grew up on Houston music. I really kind of sparked this is my homeboy Jay Haynes. Shouts out to Jay Haynes. We worked at this hospital together. And one of my homegirls music, like, yeah, so we got to talking. So one night he hit me, was like, man, I'm trying to register my music. And I'm like, well, shit, I know how to do it. I said, just come downstairs and I'll help you. So he came downstairs and I sat there and helped him do his BMI, ASCAP or whatever. And then he said, hey man, you're pretty good at this, huh? As soon as he said that, a light bulb came on. And then that's when I'm like, that's it. You know, from the basic stuff. So when I started doing, I started reading, at the time, webinars were kind of a new thing on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? YouTube was really starting to get popular and all of that. So I started reading books, listening to different people, and then I start putting in that time and hours.
Man, Backstreet Code, man, advice to the artists that don't know how to get their music in the right hands
would be is that do your research. And also get around people like myself, like Diamond, You know, shouts out to Diamond,
Okay.
Diamond Entertainment. Get up around people like us, even C Rich, you know, so I got to send her a shout out too.
Shout out C, okay.
Yeah, you know, get around people like us and, you know, and ask questions, but I would always suggest is do your own research.
I guess your relationship with Haroldlujah.
Haroldlujah, man. I started out, what happened was I was at Texas One-on-One Jams. Shouts out to Texas One-on-One Jams. Go get her. I want you to register. This is kind of like right in the beginning of my thing where I started to kind of register music. So I met her right here off was it Rankin where that Flying J's is at.
Okay, Richie.
Yeah, Richie.
Okay.
We're on Richie at that Denny's. Used to be Denny's, right? So we met. And I remember I brought my computer, and when I seen him, I'm like, man, who, you know, I'm like, man, who the fuck is this Webby looking at? Because at the time, he had the fro and the goals. And I'm like, so when we first met, he was kind of looking at me all awkward. And I, you know, me, you know, I'm like, man, you know, but so ever since then,
Yeah, just been locked in.
we've been rocking, you know, I would see him back and forth, and then when he had got locked up and he got released, I did like myself, but me and Harold's always been locked in ever since 2015.
Do you think the city is missing his sound and his, I guess, his presence?
I think so. I mean, and I'm saying that not from a manager standpoint, I'm saying it from a fan standpoint. I think the city is missing that, but also too, the city's trying to dismiss him at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Why you say that?
I mean, you know, it just, you know, my man had a situation, and he had a situation. Then after his situation, you know, when I agreed to kind of in the beginning help, you know, because believe it or not, I didn't start off managing Harold. When after his situation, somebody else was kind of in the management seat. I was brought in to help with the paperwork, with her. I was brought in to help with that, okay. And so some things happened. So that manager kind of decided that okay, I'm not going to do this right now. So then that's how I hoisted in a position, myself and his old dude. You know, shout out to OG. His old man. So yeah, 790. T-Dog, man. That's my guy. That involved with 790 was again through Haroldlujah. Okay. That was a situation that he wanted to pursue at the time. So we went over there and he introduced me to T-Dog, and then T-Dog was like, yo, I got this label with these artists, man. I'd like to have your assistance. So that's when I started over there and kind of started helping, trying to put some things together at 790.
You just been everywhere. Are you just catering to like the north side of Houston, or do you have like south side? Have you ever worked with like south side clients and shit like that?
Yeah, matter of fact, how I really kind of started off, Postman 2G.
Okay.
He was the first artist.
Okay, you went back.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna get to another point because I don't want to leave him out. Postman 2G was my entry into kind of start working with a lot of little different artists. Yellow Boy, who's now AKA Highway Yellow, and then
shout out Yellow.
Shout out to Highway Yellow. So then it just kind of starts spinning from there. So I kind of have my hands a little bit with everybody.
Why is it so important for artists to have a paperwork right? A lot of people say that, but you hear so many artists the same sad song about a bad deal, the label fucked me over. But I guess we're in 2025 now. Shouldn't they kind of know what's going on?
They should, but they still don't.
Okay.
And the reason why I express paperwork so much because of that, what you just said. Everybody, you hear these sad stories about they was, homeless or they was down, and so I really took it to show artists that the music is important, but the business is more important because if you don't have the business, they want to see an advantage. Okay, all right, but also you got to think of it. Okay, you doing a block party. I mean, block party, you want to put up banners and stuff. Okay, what's going to be the benefit for the business?
Also on fatherhood, because did you see I know it's been everywhere, that little girl, man, R.I.P., she lost her life in a cross with her dad, unfortunately. And not to say he was a bad guy, because I don't know him personally, but it's just
he didn't deserve to lose his life. But then I know somebody gonna be like, well, you don't know what he did to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's true, but that serves in that situation as well.
Right.
You know, but then when you bring in the little girl, it really hurts because that little girl is not gonna, now she's not gonna have the opportunity to grow. She's not gonna. But when Flip came out on the scene, like Underground Legend and things like, when he did that first album, every time I used to see Flip, he used to be iced out and this and that. In my opinion, that was one of the first people from Houston I seen jump fly, was Lil Flip. You know what I'm saying? But Sauce Walka right now, he got it. So if Sauce Walka say, I brought this to this, he got the right to say it. So I mean, I can't argue with that. And this this is from my opinion, my opinion's based. I've been here for 13 years and I've seen it kind of happen and transpire and stuff like that. I feel that artists, again, it's a lack of education. Stop trying to go to these people with empty hands.
Okay.
Empty-handed. Because if you build your own table, cook your own food, the situation, the conversation is always going to be different.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is when you go to a DJ and you be like, here's my stuff. You just hand them something. There's no introduction. There's nothing to it. And the fact is that you have to study and learn. To me, what I would do as an artist, what I would do is I would learn the DJ's patterns. Where is he spinning at? What type of music he's spinning. Learn the music he's spinning. What's the beats per minute for it? Like now, Murph, I'm gonna take a page out of your book, but also too, take a page out of this book, but also I preach this too, is that anytime you go to a club as an artist, there's numbers that you should be getting. You should be getting the manager of the place or the owner, the DJ, the announcer, the bartender, and the promoter who's promoting. That's 5 numbers you should get. Especially, I tell you the number that's really important is the announcer and the bartender, because research everything, think for yourself. And think about the right now, but also plan for your future. Because you'd be amazed what happens, but also too, you have to watch what you do now, because what you do now can affect you later.
And you from both, so I gotta ask you, for artists just coming up from Missouri and Texas, which section is it harder to pop in?
St. Louis.
Okay.
And the only reason why
Nelly bigger than anybody out here, you know that.
And this is where another reason why, when people say Houston, I can't do nothing here in Houston.
They always say that.
So St. Louis, the time when I was rapping in the early 2000s in St. Louis, you gotta think St. Louis is not even 1 million people.
Okay.
It is not, like we're talking the city of St. Louis, not 1 million people.
Okay.
But also too, St. Louis, just like Houston, they're alike in similar ways. St. Louis was very cliquish. Back then. It's still, I ain't gonna say still is now, because I haven't been there. I'm not as tapped in with it. But back then it was very cliquish. You had different, you had different organizations, and so it was harder because of Nelly and the Lunatics. Everybody was rapping. Everybody was doing. So I'm talking about everybody you met, was rapping. Everybody. Where Houston, there's 6.4, maybe different, 6.4 million people in the Houston area. So there's more people you can reach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to the artists here in Houston, I've been telling y'all this last few years, you got to get outside of just Houston inside the 610. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of artists get stuck in that, but they're not thinking about, you got Highway 10, you got 59, you got 45. Those are 3 main veins that go all different places. And that's one of the biggest differences between Houston and St. Louis. It's the people, and you have more people to market to. because you got to think we're on the northwest side of the city,
right?
And you got to think there's a whole nother world on this side. Just imagine if you go on the southwest side, or you go on the southeast, or whatever. And so it was definitely, it was definitely you were competing for the same people. Like here in Houston, it's bigger here, and you can market to more people. Where in St. Louis, you had Nelly, you had Chingy, people. But at that time, I'm gonna tell y'all something too. I'm gonna tell you this: St. Louis, when Nelly blew up, St. Louis and the whole situation was hand in hand. I don't think any other city had that. You gotta think, when Nelly blew up, the Rams won the Super Bowl, and the Cardinals was winning World Series. Mark McGuire and all of that. So the St. Louis Blues, everybody was in a positive thing. They were winning championships. So when Nelly and St. Louis teams thing, it just took off.
It just made
it made St. Louis even more recognizable, because all right, you got the St. Lunatics, damn, they took off. Damn, the Cardinals just won the World Series, and St. Louis Rams just won the Super Bowl. It was popping. I ain't gonna lie. That was from 2000 to 2006 and 7. Those are the most magical years of St. Louis hip hop. Consultant kind of help you in a direction. I'm always open to that.
Okay, man. He say, man, y'all jumping this DM and ball, man. Chuck, who you sending some love to, bro? Any last minute shout out?
Shout out to everybody, man, who rocks with me. But particularly, I want to shout out to my artists. Shout out to Haroldlujah, music making Mommy M3. I definitely see you. Shout out to my boy Tulo. You know what I'm saying? Tulo, man. Yeah, Tulo. You know what I'm saying? The funky little nigga, but you know what I'm saying? He got a dope little single out. Shouts out to Diamond from Diamond ENT. You know what I'm saying? That's my home girl. That's kind of like my partner in crime for real. Okay. You know what I'm saying? C Rich also shout out to my kids. Who gonna see this? They gonna be like, Dad. Okay. I definitely see you. Man, I'm telling you that, my kid right who's definitely doing the thing. All the media outlets, Backstreet Code. Shouts out to you.
Thank you.
Shouts out to all the medias. I can't name everybody. One Sound, Vibe, everybody.